Welcome to Important Updates, your trusted source for breaking headlines, global insights, and sharp analysis from around the world. If you are new here, do not forget to hit that subscribe button so that you never miss an update. I'm sure you've heard the news. In The Hague, anxiety gripped Dutch officials as they gathered behind closed doors, their faces etched with concern. The air was thick with uncertainty, and every whispered conversation seemed to carry the weight of the nation's future. Outside, a storm brewed far beyond their borders, but its ominous clouds cast a shadow over the Netherlands. The world was changing rapidly, and the Dutch could feel the pressure mounting with every passing hour. The United States had delivered a trade ultimatum to China, but its shockwaves hit the Netherlands hardest. News channels buzzed with speculation, and Dutch officials watched, knowing their country was caught in the crossfire of two superpowers. At the center of this geopolitical storm was ASML, the Dutch company whose world-leading microchip machines had become the crown jewels of modern technology. These advanced lithography systems, essential for producing the world's most sophisticated chips, were now pawns in a global power struggle. The US demanded the Dutch halt all sales and servicing of these advanced lithography machines to China, insisting that national security was at stake. The pressure was relentless, and the stakes could not have been higher. For the Netherlands, this meant risking a lucrative market that supported thousands of jobs, or angering its most powerful ally and protector. The dilemma was agonizing, with business leaders and politicians alike fearing the consequences of either choice. Years of careful neutrality and trade diplomacy were suddenly upended. The Dutch had long prided themselves on balancing relationships, but now the balance was shattered. The Dutch faced a stark choice: economic pain or diplomatic fallout. Every scenario seemed to lead to loss, and the nation's leaders debated late into the night, searching for a path forward. The American demand felt less like a request and more like an order, disregarding Dutch sovereignty and leaving little room for negotiation. The message was clear: comply or face the consequences. Officials scrambled to assess the damage, comply and cripple a key industry, or refuse and risk US retaliation. The stakes were not just economic, but existential, threatening the very fabric of Dutch independence. The era of comfortable neutrality was over. The Netherlands could no longer remain on the sidelines, shielded by its reputation for pragmatism and diplomacy. The Netherlands, a small but vital player in the global economy, was now forced to pick a side in a conflict it never wanted. Its strategic position and technological prowess had made it indispensable and vulnerable. The stakes were enormous: national prosperity, global alliances, and the future of technology itself hung in the balance. Every decision would ripple across continents and industries. A decision had to be made. The world was watching, and the next move would define the Netherlands for years to come. For decades, the global tech supply chain thrived on interdependence. The US designed chips, Asia manufactured them, and China assembled the final products. This system fueled prosperity, but also created vulnerabilities. As China's ambitions grew, Washington saw interdependence as a weakness. Fears mounted that US technology could fuel China's military rise. The US shifted from engagement to confrontation, targeting supply chain choke points. The most critical: EUV lithography, made only by ASML in the Netherlands. By pressuring the Dutch, the US aimed to block China's access to next-gen chips. The global supply chain was no longer just about efficiency. It had become a battlefield. The Netherlands, once a neutral link, was now a critical front in a new kind of war. The world watched as alliances and industries hung in the balance. The Netherlands' global influence rests on one company, ASML. ASML's EUV machines are essential for the world's most advanced chips. No one else can make them. Major chip makers in Taiwan, South Korea, and China depend on Dutch technology. This success put the Netherlands in a precarious spot. Caught between US security demands and Chinese economic interests, the US sees ASML as a tool for Western dominance. China sees it as vital for its own growth. The Dutch government must balance its NATO alliance with the US against the economic fallout of losing China as a customer. Alienating Washington isn't an option, but cutting off China means lost jobs and investment. The Dutch are forced to walk a tightrope, trying to appease both giants without losing everything. The stakes are national prosperity and the future of global tech leadership. The world's eyes are on the Netherlands. The American ultimatum marked the dramatic climax of years of escalating tech controls on China, a saga that had been quietly building behind the scenes. What started as targeted restrictions on companies like Huawei soon snowballed into sweeping export controls, covering not just chips, but also the software and manufacturing tools essential for producing them. The US was determined to choke off China's access to the building blocks of modern technology. But Washington quickly realized it couldn't win this battle alone. To truly isolate China, it needed the cooperation of key allies, especially the Netherlands and Japan, home to the world's most advanced chip-making equipment. American officials launched a relentless diplomatic campaign, mixing persuasion, pressure, and even veiled threats to bring partners on board. The stakes were high, and the message was clear. The US demanded, block China's access to advanced chip-making tools, or face serious consequences. This was about more than just trade, it was about global power and technological supremacy. The 2025 ultimatum was the boldest move yet, demanding a total halt to all high-end lithography sales and services to China, including even older DUV machines that had previously slipped through the cracks. This was a major escalation, one designed not only to cripple China's future ambitions, but to disrupt its current chip industry, threatening factory shutdowns and halted production lines across the country. The US was betting that the Netherlands, despite its economic interests, would ultimately choose security ties and alliance with America over profits from China. The Dutch now faced a no-win scenario: comply with US demands and suffer economically, or resist and risk the wrath of their most powerful ally. The pressure was immense, and the world was watching. The semiconductor showdown had escalated into a full-blown global crisis, with ripple effects threatening supply chains and economies worldwide. The world's most advanced technology had become a weapon in a high-stakes geopolitical game where every move could shift the balance of power. The decision facing the Netherlands would not only shape the future of the semiconductor industry, but also redefine alliances and the global order for years to come. The stakes had never been higher, and the outcome would echo far beyond the world of chips. Beijing's response to the Dutch compliance was swift and strategic. China condemned the move as technological terrorism and accused the US of bullying. Instead of targeting the US directly, China retaliated against the Netherlands. Trade investigations hit Dutch products, especially agriculture, with sudden regulatory hurdles. China also restricted exports of critical raw materials, gallium, germanium, and rare earths, vital for global tech manufacturing. The message siding with the US comes at a steep price. China's retaliation sent shockwaves through the global supply chain. The world was reminded, interdependence cuts both ways. China's retaliation hit the Netherlands hard and fast. Dutch exports, cheese, pork, and more, were blocked at Chinese ports. Farmers and businesses lost a key market overnight. ASML's business in China collapsed, and its stock price tumbled. The Dutch business community watched in shock as confidence in the country's stability eroded. The crisis exposed the risks of being caught between superpowers. Within the government, fierce debate erupted. Was siding with the US worth the economic pain? Some argued security was paramount. Others lamented the loss of economic sovereignty. The public mood soured, and the Netherlands faced deep uncertainty about its future. The cost of great power rivalry was now painfully clear. China's export restrictions on rare earths sent global markets into turmoil. Manufacturers in Japan, Germany, and the US scrambled as supply chains broke down and prices soared. The West's vulnerability was exposed. The crisis deepened rifts within the Western alliance. European leaders grew wary of Washington's aggressive tactics, fearing a costly conflict with China. The semiconductor industry faced chaos, investment stalled, and the risk of a tech decoupling loomed. The world now faced the prospect of two rival tech blocs, stifling innovation and raising costs. Diplomatic channels between the US and China grew even more strained. The era of engagement was over. Open strategic competition had begun. The world watched, anxious about what might come next. The stakes: global stability and the future of technology. By late 2025, the crisis remained unresolved. The world watched anxiously as uncertainty lingered, and the sense of unease grew with each passing month. The US had blocked China's access to advanced chip tools, aiming to protect its technological edge. But this move came at a steep price, destabilizing long-standing alliances and sending shockwaves through global supply chains. Industries worldwide felt the impact, from car manufacturers to smartphone makers, as shortages and delays became the new normal. Washington now faced the daunting challenge of repairing strained relationships with allies while also racing to build new supply chains for critical minerals. The U.S. government and private sector scrambled to secure resources and forge new partnerships, knowing that the stakes extended far beyond economics. In response, China doubled down on technological self-sufficiency, pouring unprecedented resources into its domestic chip industry. Universities, startups, and state-owned giants all joined the push, determined to break free from foreign dependence and emerge stronger than before. The Netherlands, caught in the crossfire, struggled to recover. Dutch leaders sought quiet diplomacy with both superpowers, while also pushing for a unified European response to the crisis. The nation's role as a tech hub was suddenly in question. The crisis forced the Dutch to rethink their place in a world increasingly defined by great power rivalry. Questions about sovereignty, security, and economic future loomed large. Several futures are possible: de-escalation through negotiation, a prolonged tech Cold War, or even dangerous escalation into open conflict. Each path carries profound consequences for nations and individuals alike. The most likely scenario, experts warn, is a long period of tension with the world split into competing tech blocks. Innovation may slow and collaboration could become a relic of the past. The most dangerous outcome, economic conflict spilling into other domains, threatens not just prosperity, but global stability itself. The risk of miscalculation grows as tensions mount. The future of the global economy and peace hangs in the balance. Every decision made now will echo for decades. The world holds its breath, hoping for wisdom and restraint from those in power. Ordinary people everywhere wonder what tomorrow will bring. The choices made now will shape the next era of global order, determining whether cooperation or confrontation defines the future. The stakes could not be higher. The world stands at a crossroads, and the decisions of today will define the legacy of this generation. This episode marks a turning point in 21st century geopolitics. The US forced the Netherlands to halt critical tech sales to China, aiming to slow Beijing's rise. The Dutch, caught between two giants, paid a heavy price, economically and diplomatically. China retaliated, weaponizing its control over key resources and sending shockwaves through global supply chains. The world is now fractured along new fault lines, with middle powers like the Netherlands caught in the crossfire. The era of global integration is giving way to open rivalry and strategic competition. The aftermath has not resolved tensions, it has only escalated them. The world is more divided, unpredictable, and dangerous than ever.